Hello. You're normally used to exercise videos and breathing videos and videos about cold training. This one is about mindset. And this is how I work on my self-development, but it's also kind of my teaching structure. I call this the power of paradox. And I'm writing a book about it, and I will post a lot more videos about it. But this is, like how I work with this gray mass up here. And the brain is amazing. Let's not, punish the brain, because it's directing this beautiful organism, this beautiful system, which is called our body. And it's just amazing how it works. But then, our rational brain produces a lot of thoughts. What is it? 60, 80,000 per day. And we can, beat ourselves up by thinking negatively. Glass half empty thinking. Now, my way, I call it also the deep no BS mindset training. My way of getting to see what is true and what is not true is called the power of paradox. And it's quite simple, and it's also can be very confusing. Our brain works in putting things in boxes, right? Like either up or down, or true or untrue. Very binary, basically. Now, what is a paradox? A paradox is a statement that is at the same time true and untrue. And this comes down to the following. Whatever I'm thinking, the opposite can also be true. And I was talking to a guy a few days ago who was telling me things about the Holocaust, and that it might not be true. And truly, my brain disrupted. I was like, okay, I want to get out of here. And with respect, I'm sure you agree. But then, out of respect, because this is a friend of a friend, I thought, power of paradox. What does the paradox say? I don't believe this at all. Whatever I believe, the opposite is also true. Is also true. So even if there is a small, extremely small chance that this might be true, for the next 2 to 5 minutes, I pretend that this is true and listen to somebody's story. And then later, when I'm doing the dishes or whatever, I'm thinking of what this person said. Does it resonate with me? Definitely not. Then it doesn't become my truth. But, the way of thinking, paradoxical thinking, or paralogical thinking, you could call it, is whatever I think, the opposite is also true, or may also be true. Yeah, so for example, I'm not good enough. Well, that may be true, because, rationally spoken, it can always be better, so it's never good enough. Kind of true. But the opposite is also true. You're always good enough, whatever you do. We don't have a lot of things we have to do in our life, I feel. And by releasing, all the things we have to do, you start to work from flow and get a lot more done than when you're continuously saying to yourself, it should be better, it's not good enough. Okay, I want to go somewhere, which is the following, my teaching structure. I call myself the know-nothing teacher. And this is basically because I know for sure that I don't have all the information. And you hear me say in my videos also, I'm just sharing what I believe. There's sometimes there's some form of scientific evidence or scientific research, because evidence is a big word, and what I believe. And I just want to share my experience and share with you what works for me, like this video about mindset. So whenever it comes to teaching, I'm the opposite of the guru. I'm very aware that I don't know everything. And 10 years from now, if I would go back to this moment, I would be sure that I know very little at this moment, because I've learned a lot more. Now, it may sound but as a teacher, you have to know. No, you don't. You know, like I read a research yesterday about if people are screwing up and they're honest about it, or they're a specialist, say in the financial world, and somebody like a client asks a question, you can better say I don't know than give some BS story, you know, because people feel that when you're selling them crap, basically. So rather say I don't know and be honest about it, you know, and be transparent about it. So I'm the know nothing teacher. I feel like a hub of information, and mainly because of all of your comments, and I'm very grateful for that, because that makes me research more, but also a lot of you are giving me things that I really learn from. So please, you know, like if you have something to say about this, let me know in the comments. I'm just sharing what works for me. It doesn't mean that it have to work for you, but if it does, well, absolutely great. So this was a little video about mindset. I call it deep, no BS mindset training through the power of paradox. I'm actually writing a book called The Power of Paradox, subtitle Deep, No BS Mindset Training. And I dedicate the book to my children who are kind of stuck in a corner because I tell them not to listen to me. But by not listening to me, they are actually listening to me. So this is the paradox in process. All right, enough for now. You will hear a lot more about the power of paradox. Once I get my the pre-booking link for my book up, I will make a whole series about this. All right, and there's a list also called The Power of Paradox. There's not many videos now, but you can already watch that. You know, you can. It's highly applicable in everyday life, and it makes you connect to your feeling on one hand, and also distinct the what works for me, what is functional for my growth, simply said, not good, no, functional, and what is dysfunctional for my growth. Yeah, for example, laughing, not good enough, is, you may think that's dysfunctional. Well, it is if you're like continuously, you know, if you're over perfectionistic and continuously beating yourself down, it's not good enough, not good enough, I have to do better. It is dysfunctional. It doesn't make you happier. But is there a functional part? Yes, there is too. You know, our evolution as humans is also from this energy. And like not good enough could be translated, it's exactly the same, but not good enough is very much glass half full, glass half empty, excuse me. Well, it could be better is exactly the same energy and kind of glass half full thinking, right? Now, our evolutionary process where we are advancing, like in technological advances and whatever, you can feel this in yourself, is actually from the same energy. So the not good enough thought can be dysfunctional, but it can be functional at the same time. Paradox. If you find the paradox in your daily life, or you think in paradoxes, you may be confused sometimes, because this is the power in the power of paradox. If our minds, our rational minds, hear a paradox, both true and untrue, it kind of crashes, because our minds cannot work with that concept. And so it has to be true or untrue. So what happens if we hear a paradox? The rational mind kind of crashes in the analogy of a computer program. And what is left? Well, everything else. You could call it intuition, hard thinking, gut feeling, anything else but the rational mind. Okay, this is a little bit of a longer video than I planned, but you know, like, I am a nerd, and once I get going, I get going. So thank you if you listened all the way, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and more to come about this subject. Thank you very much. See you later. Bye bye.